What's going on, you guys? This is your boy Jeameave back again with another video of Views from the Heart. If you're new to the channel and enjoy what you're seeing, feel free to browse my other videos as well as subscribe because it really helps me out. And today I have a 2019 Audi S5 Quattro courtesy of Santa Monica Audi. Once again, thank you so much to everyone involved. Nico, my guy Kyle sitting over there. You guys are going to see him again soon. I appreciate you guys so much for this opportunity. And once again, this is a 2019 Audi S5. This is basically the direct competitor to my car, the BMW 335 or 340i, or Mercedes C43 AMG, or what used to be C400. And this is actually the Sportback, so this is not the regular S5 Coupe. Audi has taken homage from BMW and Mercedes in offering a coupe, parentheses, with coupe styling, but with 4 doors. BMW likes to call it Grand Coupe. Mercedes literally just calls it coupe. I was perplexed too when I looked on their website and I was searching for coupes, and it brought down the CLS, and I was like, when did they make a 2-door CLS? Truth be told, they gave me the 4-door and they just called it a coupe. But Audi, like BMW, decided to give it a more extravagant name, trying to differentiate a little bit, and Audi calls it a Sportback. And looking at it, I think this is a very stunning design. Personally, I feel that Audi has always, at least since the B8 generation, in my personal opinion, has really done significant strides in creating stellar looking vehicles that aren't too in your face, but when you look at it and start to appreciate it, you really look at the lines and the cuts and how clean and just kind of suit and tie it is. It's not as in your face as like an M or as beefy as like an AMG in some cases. Audi is a little bit more muted, or subdued rather, and it's just a little bit more just respectable in many ways. It's not boy racer, and it's not too muted, but it's, compared to its contemporaries, it's a little bit more on the subtle side, which can be both a good and a bad thing. You know, if you prefer something that is can catch people off guard, well then Audi is your go-to. So the S5 is powered by Audi's 3-liter turbocharged V6, pushing out 349 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, which is also mated to an 8-speed automatic with a curb weight of 3,726 pounds. So that being said, I'm eager to get this bad boy on the road, especially considering that it's the direct competitor to my car. So let's jump in and see how it drives. Let's go. So what's this like driving a 2019 Audi S5 Sportback? Okay. Not bad at all. How did that feel to you, Kyle?
Yeah, man, that's great.
just wanted to start off with a little taste, you know, just give a little bit of feel. This is, after all, the direct competitor to my car, BMW's 335 or 340i, and Mercedes C43 AMG for the most part. And once again, this vehicle is courtesy of Santa Monica Audi. Thank you so much, Kyle, once again for this opportunity. Please feel free to introduce yourself to the audience and say as you would like.
Kyle Anderson, I'm the social media manager at Santa Monica Audi. You can check out Santa Monica Audi on Instagram and Twitter, both at Santa Monica Audi.
What we heard it there. Please feel free to check them out on Instagram and in Santa Monica, California. Once again, appreciate you so much. And I am so glad we figured out, it's not hard, but I'm so used to pressing a button and everything being in sport. When I press the button in here to put it in dynamic mode, which is Audi's equivalent of saying sport, apparently it doesn't say sport, at least not in here. I wonder if it would be different in the RS models. But one thing I noticed right away, that when I was in like I said, right now I'm in individual, but while in individual I set everything to literally sport. You click down here to the right on the dial, and on the dial, as you can see, everything is literally in dynamic, because as you can see, there is well, there's no sport, so everything is in dynamic. And the reason why I said this is because when you just press it and flick it over into dynamic mode without going into individual, it's automatically set into auto. So that means it's going to change based on the way you're driving. But I was complaining to Kyle how I felt that the driving, especially how the communication through the steering wheel, was just so not sporty. I was honestly going to be very, very disappointed in the way the car felt, because I wanted to be more hypercritical of this car, because I understand that this is an S. This is an S5. This is the step just below an RS. So this is meant to be sporty. This is meant to feel very close to. All right, my fault. Wasn't sure where you were going there. This is meant to be a direct competitor to my 335i. So that being said, just that notion alone and how raw and communicative my car is, personally, I have an E92, the last great generation. I'm just kidding. I drive a sport car every day, so I crave sport car intangibles, and I'm hypercritical of sports cars or anything that even utters performance, because I have a pretty good understanding, in my personal opinion, of what I would personally want out of a sports car. And what I can feel right now through the steering wheel is that it still has a little bit of vagueness, a la how I conveyed it in my Audi A4 review, is that it's something that is really present throughout Volkswagen in general. Volkswagen, who owns Audi, who owns Bentley, it's all very similar in the sense that it gives you just the right amount of communication without being overly communicative, like how BMW tends to be at times. And like I said, this is more so a preference because I prefer rawness and exact, precise communication. And here, it's not as raw, but it's giving me enough to where I feel comfortable in it. And on top of that, especially after putting everything in dynamic and making sure it's in dynamic, oops, I put okay, my phone, you know, we just put menu on that. And again, I'm an individual and everything is in its maximum sporty setting. And right away, Kyle, remember how I told you when we first got into it, how supple and comfortable it was? Yeah. Right away, you can feel it being pretty stiff, right? Mm-hmm. And even though it's significantly stiff compared to where it was before, it's still fairly comfortable, I have to admit. 100%. But I can feel everything toned up, more aggressive. The on idle, the RPM is higher. This car is ready to go right now. But unfortunately, as you can see, we are in well, traffic. Good old Santa Monica. Not many places you can rip it up like as we did in the very beginning. But with that being said, overall the steering is very nicely weighted. It's something that is very hard to do, especially with like electronic steering. It has just the right amount of weight to it, in my personal opinion. It feels good to the touch, it feels good to feel, and I have a general understanding of what the front wheels are doing, and it's very communicative in that sense. Again, don't misconstrue my words in saying that I'm kind of being oxymoronic in the sense that I'm saying it's raw, but it's not. It is, but just at a different level, like a different beast. You know, in the sense of you can tell it's a sports car in these settings, but it's not like super raw, you know, as how other cars that I experienced before. But this is the way it feels right now. I wish I could be going through some turns and curves to really feel what this car can do. And alas, you know, I'm limited to what's around here. Yeah. And there are no really roads like that. But let's see. It looks like we did give it a little. That's a little cool, right? Okay. Remember, this is 349 horsepower combined with all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic. And I must say, the way that the response from the paddle shifters to that was hilarious. Yeah, you saw that, right? And it was just like that yellow color too. Yeah. But one thing I wanted, again, go back to the review. I'm surprised as to like how much this car has changed by putting it into individual and allowing and putting everything into sport. Driving it here to the location, I felt that I wasn't expecting this. I can say that for sure. It's really a wolf in sheep's clothing in the sense that it felt like just so comfortable. It felt like an A4, honestly. You remember that was one of the first things out there? When I first hopped in, I told you, I was like, I don't know, the steering just doesn't really feel that good. And like I said, that's also me comparing it and saying it with the forethought of saying that this is the S, like this is meant to be sporty. A4 obviously isn't, so obviously I'm comparing it differently. You know, it's can't put a square peg in a round hole. There's no reason for me to be critical of an A4's sporty characteristics compared to what would be offered in, you know, an S or an RS. And obviously this is the S5. So I'm pretty amazed as to how much this car has changed. It literally went from a very comfortable cruiser to like a confident feeling vehicle. And that is something that is incredible to me, because rarely have I felt a car that has been able to mimic both styles. So like that feels really good. Do you feel that?
Yeah, that felt great.
Like, I don't know if that how it translates to the passenger, but that felt super direct.
Yeah.
I never really felt that. I was like, wow. See, like now it's like I wish we had you know, some curse, because that felt really tight. It just felt very precise. And driving that here and going through the trends before, it didn't feel like that. It just felt like a comfortable Land Cruiser. But in here, it felt like something that I could really take this on a Sunday drive and just start
whipping it.
just start whipping it and feeling comfortable at the same time. Because again, one of the main differences to me is that yes, you can drive any car fast and do what you will or whatever, but the main difference to me personally is understanding how the car feels, drives, and being comfortable in doing said maneuvers with the car. And this inspires confidence. Like, I wish I could take this, because this is obviously a dip, so you know, I'm not trying to destroy the car. Now you can feel it a little bit more of a kick as to how I was explaining to you earlier. Got some nice crackles on the shifts through the exhaust. It feels so different by changing those intangibles and characteristics of this car compared to when we first hopped in and drove to the location. Yeah, I'm honestly really impressed with how this feels. I just wish, again, because I'm honestly really disappointed in that I can't really show it's just due just because of the area. But I'm gonna try my best to convey that. Again, it's not super raw, but it inspires confidence. Yeah. It's something that it's you really have to experience it to believe it. Go come down to Santa Monica Audi, come test drive this, come feel exactly what I'm talking about, because it's really tricky to convey. And I hope, Kyle, that you have an understanding just by being the passenger, because you haven't driven this before either. Yeah. And it's something that is literally two different cars from when I drove it, from when we drove it here to how it's performing right now. Yeah. So there is a slight bend up above, so I'm gonna see more or less if how that turn felt just now and how it'll feel in this bend, and see if that same sensation will be carried out through it. So stay tuned for that. This will literally be like in the next 30 seconds. But with that being said, I want to focus on the interior. I love the carbon fiber inlays here. Overall, the Audi has just like really nailed it. The suede or like Alcantara on the door sills, on the doors, it's just really clean. The seats are extremely comfortable. There is just, Audi has just like nailed an interior. Interior is just honestly immaculate in many ways. It looks great, it feels great, and you definitely feel like as if you're getting your money's worth. And this is the Prestige edition, mind you, too. So this isn't, don't try and misconstrue. Let me see, there is the curve. There's a Prius. Wow, there's not much body roll. Wow, that felt really good. Yeah, that felt really good in that roll. And again, it's just a slight roll, and unfortunately that's probably the best we could get around in this area. But it definitely wasn't, it didn't feel unsafe or didn't feel uncomfortable. No, it felt pretty planted. Not like rock solid Z06 type planted, but it felt, especially for something like this, which is not even the RS. So I'd really like to see how the RS feels. Yeah. And this does have the active addition of the sport differential and the sports steering offered by Audi for the S. I honestly cannot tell you if it differentiates much for the RS. I'm not exactly sure, but these are options on this car to make it feel the way that it does. So I would go as far as to assume that on the less equipped S5s, it may not feel as good as it does. I'm curious to see if Audi kind of does it sometimes with like how BMW is now doing it, with offering like an LSD option and things like that. This is brand new for 2019. BMW didn't do this before. You couldn't get a 335i or a 340i with M intangibles. Now BMW is doing it to where the trickle down technology that's within the M models are now within the the lower models. So I'm very interested to see if Audi is doing the same thing. Yeah. And with offering what would be in the RS in this car as options, which would seem pretty ideal
Yeah.
And would make sense because, like I said, this feels really, really good. But it's at a weird, confident, inspiring way.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to convey how Audi feels because you're confident in it. You understand what's going on, but you don't really feel it. It's so weird, and I'm not really even sure how to convey it. How would you kind of describe the car? Because, like I said, just driving in the passenger seat, I'm pretty sure that even you can feel how much of a dichotomy this experience is.
I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. It inspires confidence for sure. Like, you're hitting these turns, you're flying, and it just
feels secure,
confident in the car. Yeah,
exactly. But it's like I said, I'm trying to find the words to really put it together as to how to bring it wholesome and really describing how it is. Like it's a completely different experience. I really never felt a car like this before, where you're confident in it, but yet you feel like the least it gives you just the right amount. Not an overabundance, not too little, but just that right amount to where it still feels luxurious, but at the same time it's something that you can still be confident in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something I think is extremely difficult to hit, and I feel like Audi has really delivered on that, because even in this stiffest suspension setting right now, and we're going through a little, not the best road, you know, it's not like freshly paved or anything like that, but yet it feels comfortable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
it's been a smooth ride.
It's been smooth overall, but it's even smoother. Okay, that kind of scared me, even though it feels even smoother in its regular setting, and that's the main thing to me that I'm so amazed by, is that when we first hopped in here, we went through an alleyway to get to the main street that was horrible.
Yeah.
Literally potholes everywhere. I'm doing my best to avoid the potholes and whatnot. And in my car, I can tell you right now, I would feel like I'm going like this and being beat up. I'm just being honest. Like my 335i with the sport suspension, literally,
yeah,
I would feel like the car is. I would be like, God damn it, man! Pothole, destroyed rim, things like that. In here, and just jumping in, like I said, that was in comfort mode and everything like that.
Yeah.
Didn't really even feel it.
Yeah.
Honestly, would not be able to tell how terrible that was if I wasn't looking at it.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is pretty incredible to me, because that is something really, really hard to do. And what's crazier to me is being able to sit here and say that that's the same car.
Yeah.
I can put this right now back into soft, cushy, posh setting and have a comfortable daily driving.
100%.
But then I can flick it into individual and feel you have the best of both worlds.
Yep.
That is so hard. It isn't. That's hats off to you, Audi. I really don't know how else to describe it. That is how would you, like, have you experienced a car like that before, to where you felt
really not.
felt it so comfortable?
Yeah.
And then now you feel it.
It feels like a completely different car.
It's like two cars in one. That is genuine reaction. This is no because like, this is no fluff or anything like that. This is just me being honestly utterly surprised as to how this car has just such a dual personality. Yeah. And I was not expecting that. So like I was saying, I'm just so surprised and amazed at the dual personality of this car. And the 8-speed, it has a CF 8-speed as well. That feels great. There's an Audi Avant in front of us too. The shifts are quick. Yeah. For it to be, you know, an automatic slush box. And I'm not gonna say the speeds we just reached, but despite the fact that this is a pretty windy day as well, the car reaching set speeds felt so secure, even when combating wind resistance. It felt planted for the speeds that we were at. And that is something that people neglect a lot when it comes to sports cars, is aero. And I'm not saying that this is some track machine now, obviously, but in that straight line speed right there, did the car waft at all? Did you feel unsafe?
Never.
That already makes sense. See, there's something with the things with technology right there. I guess it sensed that a car's making a left turn, and it decided to warn me. I guess it thinks I'm Ray Charles or something. But I guess that's cool to have. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think I covered everything else that I need to about this vehicle. Kyle, are there any lasting thoughts or impressions that you would like to add in terms of overall how this car feels to you and how surprised you might be by it?
No, I think you hit everything on the head. I was just as surprised as you were, just as impressed, and yeah, come on down to Santa Monica Audi, test drive it.
Yeah, because the interior, immaculate. Definitely one of the best interiors I personally experienced, and for the money of about $70,000. Honestly, I think it's pretty hard to beat when you think about what else it has, because I'm telling you, these seats, boy,
Oh yeah,
super comfortable. The interior, you know, but the crazy thing is to me as well is that yes, the A4 didn't have the carbon fiber inlays and things like that, and it didn't have these sports seats. But overall, what I love about Audi is that it's almost a $20,000 price difference. Let's see, that was 48. It is, okay, so $22,000 price difference. But can you honestly sit here and say that apart from the horsepower, was the Audi A4 Premium that significantly worse than what's in here?
no,
It honestly isn't. It's very comparable in many ways. Really, the major difference is the fact that it has carbon fiber in here in place of the wood door sills, as well as the door sills over here on the sides is literally Alcantara.
Yeah.
So some sort of suede. So that's where you start seeing the differences and the little touches, things like that. And okay, but overall, I'm impressed overall about the quality across the line, across the board from Audi, and I think that's in and of itself is impressive, and the performance in here is impressive for what it is. And when you take it within context, it's a pretty damn good car. So that being said, it's your boy Jeameave with ViewsFromTheHeart. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, please feel free to reach out to Santa Monica Audi, come test drive this. Follow them on Instagram at
Santa Monica Audi,
as well as Twitter at Santa Monica Audi. So with that being said, it's your boy Jeameave. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.